Lauren, I'm the subject leader of law at Rochdale Sixth Form College. So today what I'm going to talk to you about is what law is and also what kind of things we study on the course, as well as how the course is assessed. So first of all, what is law? So law is a set of rules that's been given to us generally by the state, so generally by Parliament, but sometimes Parliament will pass on their powers to other bodies for them to make law on their behalf. So like local authorities will write law on behalf of Parliament, or if a judge is applying the law in court and they find that there isn't any law that is appropriate for their case, they have to make it up on the spot, and we call that judge-made law or common law. So when it comes to the law, that kind of thing is what we look at. So transitioning into what it is that you will study when you are studying law, your first year is focused on criminal law. So that's when we look at things like murder, we look at manslaughter, we look at theft, robbery, burglary. And when committing those criminal offences, what it is that Parliament, if they've written it, or what it is that judges say, are the criteria for committing that offence. So what it is that a person has to do to be guilty of that offence. When we look at these areas, we do consider things like, is it right that a jury is going to be making that decision? So juries are just ordinary citizens. So is it right that they will be making those decisions on behalf of that individual? Is that right? Is that really showing that we live in a fair society? So that's something that people are quite divided on, that we will have a look at. We also look at, within criminal law, the defences. So we look at things that you would have heard of, like self-defence. So we consider, is it right that someone could potentially be found not guilty of a crime because they can prove that they've acted in self-defence? Is that the correct thing that should happen? Or should the person receive some kind of charge, but maybe not the full charge? So there is a lot of discussion points that we do have in law, and then that will help you when it comes to your evaluation in your essay writing, when we discuss things like that in class that Georgina will talk about later on in this video. So something else that we look at in your second year is the law of tort. So the law of tort is a civil area of law, and it's about if two individuals have an issue with each other. So for example, if one person was to trespass on someone else's property, then in that context, the person might still have a claim, even if they are a trespasser and they haven't been invited onto the person's property. Is it right that trespassers are able to claim off the person that occupies that land? So that's something we look at. And we also consider a concept called vicarious liability. So vicarious liability is where employers are responsible for the actions of the employees. So is it right that an employer will be accountable for an employee's actions, even though technically they can't control all of their behaviour? So they're just two areas that we look at within tort law. There's a few other ones that are equally as interesting. And the third big topic that we look at is an area called contract law. So contract law is where two citizens have formed an agreement. If one of them doesn't follow through, what kind of things will happen? So are you obliged to follow through with an agreement if you make it? Or what happens if the person doesn't realise that they're entering a contract and in reality they are? So it's basically things that will help you in your everyday lives, even if you decided not to study law. So I feel like the really interesting thing is with law, that you will get such baseline knowledge that will help you in your everyday lives anyway, and that's the brilliant thing about it. So with law, we assess it off 3 exams after your second year. So one exam focuses on criminal law, one exam focuses on tort law, and the third exam focuses on contract law. So all the way through, we will be going through how to answer those questions, etc., and preparing you for those 3 exams for your final A-level at the end. See you in September.
Hi, I'm Georgina, I'm one of the law teachers. So, what trips do we do at Rochdale Sixth Form College? We are planning a big trip to London where you can go to the Supreme Court, you can go and visit the House of Parliament and maybe visit the Old Bailey. If you do one of the law enrichments we have in the Law Society, you go to Huddersfield University and do a day in the life doing a law degree, so you do find out what it's like to study law at degree level. We also go to real life courtrooms and watch real life trials. If you do the bar mock trial enrichment, you will see what it's like to be in a real life case. So it's a competition in front of a real life judge. And then if you do street law, we go into primary schools and teach primary school children about the law. Visits that we've had over the last few years is the president of the Law Society has come into college and taught us about the Law Society and their other members of the Law Society. Law firms have come in and told us what it's like to work in law firms, and we've had past students who have managed to get legal apprenticeships with local law firms have come in to help other students with their application for an apprenticeship. What is a law lesson like? So obviously law is not something you will have done before, so it's a new exciting subject for you. So there are loads of different laws that we cover. We cover tort law, criminal law, contract law. We'll find out whether the law is just, is it moral, what a jury is, what a judge is, how you become a solicitor or barrister. So it covers a large range of different subjects. What we tend to do in everyday lessons then, so very teacher-led, but we have loads of group work opportunities and pair work opportunities. There's great opportunity for debate about whether the law is fair or not. We tend to do a lot of evaluation of the law about whether it's fair, whether it's just, whether it's moral, and we tend to apply the law that you've learned to actual scenarios, and you'll learn about real life cases that have happened.
Hi everyone, my name is Robin Lord. I'm the final law teacher that you're going to meet today. I'm going to talk to you about courses and career options available when studying law. Now, one course example that you can study is the Law LLB, which would set you up nicely if you wanted to go into a career such as barrister or a solicitor, or you could do combined degrees such as law with philosophy, law with psychology, law with criminology, or even sports business and sports law. The list is endless, and if you were to look on the UCAS website, you would see many available courses whilst that could go into studying law. Different careers that you can go into with studying law is, I've already mentioned you could go into becoming a barrister or a solicitor. A barrister is somebody who represents clients in court, whereas a solicitor is somebody who offers legal advice to their clients. You could also go into careers such as the police, teaching, becoming a chartered surveyor, a paralegal, which is often seen as quite similar to a solicitor, or even go into business administration and finance. Law has many doors that it can open for you because it is part of everybody's life. Everybody has to follow the law. And so the careers opportunities are absolutely fantastic. Now, what we want you to do over summer is complete a little research task that puts you in the shoes of a barrister, whether it be prosecution or defence. Now, we'd like you to watch a documentary called The Interrogation of Tony Martin. It's on Channel 4. It's about an hour long. And then answer a few questions. What is the role of a jury? What is the role of a judge? And what is the role of a barrister before you go on to write your prosecution or defence argument for Tony Martin? We hope to see you all soon and that this video has been insightful. Thank you.